UFC 304 on the horizons, and all MMA fans throughout the whole world, along with myself, cannot wait to get their hands on the viewing experience that is coming up this Saturday. So welcome on in to the Chokehold Hour. We're going to be discussing the two title fights taking place on this card. And the card, as you all know, takes place in Manchester at the arena that is the Co-op Live. It's the first UFC event to take place in this new arena, and it happens to be the first numbered event in the sport taking place in Manchester since UFC 204, where Michael Bisping, although he got rocked, defended his title against Dan Henderson and redeemed himself after that devastating knockout loss in their first bout. So you can imagine the buzz and the excitement, the energy surrounding this card, especially considering the fact that in the co-main event slot, hometown hero, the kid himself, Tommy Aspinall, defends his interim heavyweight title against Curtis Blaydes. Not only is this the first event in the Co-op Live, not only has the UFC not been to Manchester in exactly 100 numbered events, but a hometown hero defends his title on this card. The energy in Manchester must be off the charts. And then moving on to the main event, not necessarily as much of a hometown hero, but from London, Leon Edwards, training out of London, that is. And what excites me so much about this main event, it's a grudge match. It's not just another title fight. This is a fight between two fighters, Leon Edwards and Belal Muhammad, who genuinely dislike each other. Maybe the dislike is stronger on the side of Belal Muhammad, but think about the history here. In the first fight between these two men, Leon Edwards was dominating the fight. He was piecing Belal up, but a nasty eye poke from Leon Edwards ended up forcing Belal to withdraw from the fight, and you never want to lose opportunity due to injury. So Belal Muhammad, who claims that he has been training for Leon Edwards for 3 years now, has known that the rematch would come since that fight, has been preparing and game planning for the current champion and understanding better what he can do to beat him. Now, the only downside of this card, guys, it was supposed to take place originally in Salt Lake City, so the time slots for the broadcast were already decided. It was to be at least Eastern time, 10 p.m. card in the States, which means the main card starts at 3 in the morning in Manchester. That's pretty awful for the people viewing the event in person and just the fans in Manchester, because this is a Manchester card. It should be on their time zone. But the broadcast was already scheduled, so nothing you can really do about that. Let's discuss the main event first. Leon Edwards versus Belal Muhammad. Now, Leon Edwards trains with Fearless MMA. He has been heavily preparing for grappling. He expects Belal Muhammad to be shooting double legs, single legs, doing whatever he can do to get this fight to the ground at any point in the fight, because, well, Belal Muhammad is a wrestle and grappling heavy fighter. It's what he does, whereas Leon Edwards is much more well-rounded. So Belal will try to implement that strategy, and Leon, presumably so, has been training to defend takedowns. Now, this is Leon Edwards' third title defense at this point. First, he won the belt, and I don't need to replay the moment. Headshot dead, knocked out Kamaru Usman, defended the belt against Kamaru Usman in a competitive 5-round fight, and then once again defended that belt against Colby Covington, and he dominated Colby Covington. That fight was not close. There are levels to this game, and Leon Edwards is on a level that Colby Covington has not nor ever entered. So Leon Edwards, the champ, absolute stud. Belal trains in Chicago. He's been trained, actually, by Lewis Taylor since high school. Former PFL champ, and I believe, fact check me, but I believe he knocked out Abus Magomedov in the PFL a long, long time ago before Sean Strickland did him in. So Belal, riding a 10-fight unbeaten streak. Of course, tossed in there, you have the no contest against Leon Edwards, but at least 9 of those fights were wins, and he only has one TKO/KO, which came against Sean Brady, of course, when the hands of flurry and fury were too much, and Sean succumbed to that. Ref stopped the fight. Belal, guys, he's known to be a student of the game. He learns. He absorbs. He takes in. That's what this dude does. That's why he has gotten so much better so quickly. He sees what those do around him. He takes it, implements it to his own style, and arguably does it better. So the real question that I'm sure you're all wondering, who's going to win this fight? Who will be the welterweight champion of the world after Saturday? And in my eyes, the answer is a lot more simple as it's made out to be. Now, maybe people are actually picking up on this because the lines for this fight have shifted tremendously in the recent couple of days to a week. I believe Leon was somewhere around a minus 175 favorite, and now he's shot up way past minus 225. I think he sits near minus 245, and so the money is being put on Leon Edwards mainly to win this fight, and I'd have to agree with Vegas. I'd have to agree with the line and the odds that are being set here, along with all the bettors in the world. Leon Edwards is the better fighter, guys, in every way. Let's just break this down. These two already fought. Most of that fight occurred on the feet, and we saw who the better striker was. Leon threw a head kick reminiscent of the one he knocked out Kamaru Usman with, and, well, he wobbled Belal Muhammad with it. Now, Belal, funny enough, I've seen a couple posts from him saying, yeah, my chin is like that. I took the kick that Kamaru couldn't and stayed standing. Of course, different kicks, but that's a story for another day. But Leon dominated that fight on the feet. He was clearly the better striker, managed the range, timing, and distance perfectly, set up that head kick, and had Belal in major trouble in the first round of that fight. Leon is the better striker. Belal wants to make this a grappling heavy fight. He wants to make this dirty. He wants to get in the octagon, take Leon down instantaneously as quick as he can, and keep the fight on the ground. And that'll be a strategy round by round by round. But guys, are we forgetting who Leon Edwards is? He's not a striker. Leon Edwards is probably the most well-rounded martial artist in the world right now. Kamaru Usman, a champion known for his wrestling, his top control, and his ability to drag you down into deep waters and keep you there. Leon Edwards was the first fighter to land in official takedowns, stat books-wise, on Kamaru Usman. In that first round of their fight, he had a nasty trip, had top control, and had Kamaru in trouble on the ground. So Leon Edwards has shown his wrestling pedigree against the highest level of wrestler, and unless Belal Muhammad is that good at wrestling, if he is that much better than even a guy like Kamaru Usman, then yeah, maybe he will be the new welterweight champion of the world, but I just don't see that being the case. Kamaru Usman in his prime was arguably the best welterweight champion and champion of the sport, period. I mean, his run was unprecedented. Guys, he was fighting every 3 to 4 months, defending his title against the elite of the elite, and not just winning, but dominating, finishing everybody. I mean, it was just something to watch. The Masvidal fight, the Burns fight, everybody he fought, he sent them home and sent them packing in spectacular fashion. So is Belal Muhammad really that much better on the ground than Kamaru Usman? I don't think so. Leon Edwards was relatively on par with Kamaru in their fight when it came to the grappling exchanges. Can Belal Muhammad really take down Leon Edwards for 5 rounds, avoid all exchanges on the feet, and coast to a decision victory? I think not. Will Belal Muhammad finish Leon Edwards? No way. He has one finish in his last 10 fights against Sean Brady, and guys, Sean Brady is a grappler who was one of the few guys at welterweight in the top 10, top 15 that is worse at striking than Belal Muhammad. Belal Muhammad could not finish a one-armed, injured Gilbert Burns back at UFC 288. He dominated that fight, but won by decision. Belal Muhammad's not a finisher, and 25 minutes is just way too much time for a fighter as dangerous as Leon to not learn you, understand your style, and then implement a style of his own to ascend to a victory in that fight. Leon Edwards, in my eyes, is well-rounded enough, good enough of a grappler that he can keep this fight standing, and Belal Muhammad, mark my words, Belal Muhammad cannot, will not stand with Leon Edwards. If Belal Muhammad attempts to stand with Leon Edwards, his title shot will be forgotten, and his name will be forgotten rather than remembered like his nickname indicates. And remember the name Belal Muhammad, it would be detrimental and disastrous for his career, his efforts, hopes, and dreams of being a UFC champion if he stands with Leon Edwards. Because I promise you, if this fight does not go to the ground, If Belal Muhammad cannot take Leon Edwards into deep waters and keep him there for 25 minutes or get a finish before that 25-minute time marker is up, Leon Edwards will knock him out. I am so confident of it. Leon Edwards is an incredible striker. Guys, Leon Edwards was getting dominated in that fight against Kamaru Usman. Everybody counted him out, even the commentary booth, and that's why the GOAT, John Anik, had to step in with his legendary line, "That is not the cloth from which he is cut." And that's not the cloth from which he is cut. Leon doesn't just sit back and watch, he does. And in a fight where he was dominated for 24 minutes of that 25-minute fight, he found the one shot, knocked out the best champion in the sport, and ascended to superstardom. Leon Edwards has a whole country riding on him this weekend, and he is not going to let Belal Muhammad take that from him. In the words of the great Kamaru Usman, as he said after the Gilbert Burns fight where he defended his title by knockout, taking what from who? Taking what from who? Belal Muhammad will not be taking anything from Leon Edwards this weekend because Leon Edwards is better at striking. He is good enough at wrestling and good enough at defending takedowns that he will keep this fight on the feet. If I was a betting man, I'm taking Leon Edwards to win this fight, most certainly. And if you want to go ahead and sprinkle a little bit of money on his money line, even though it's at over minus 200, you could do that. Put a significant amount of money on it to the point where you could actually make a dent in your bank account. But, if you want value in a fight that is predicted to go the distance, two guys that are not necessarily finishers, you'll take your money and you'll put it on Leon Edwards to win this fight by knockout because Belal Muhammad's chin is open and available for the taking. He is good at setting up his takedowns, but is he good enough to throw a multitude of strikes and distract a fighter as good as Leon Edwards and then set up and enter and shoot that takedown without ever exposing his chin once? His chin will be exposed when he shoots, and I believe Leon Edwards is going to find that chin and win this fight by knockout. So if you want to add a little extra value and spice to your betting life, I take Leon Edwards to win this fight by knockout in Manchester. In the main event, Bruce Buffer will echo the words, "and still." And Leon Edwards will add the third infinity stone to his belt among all of his title defenses, and this will be his most flawless and stunning performance yet. Now let's drop down one slot to the co-main event. The interim heavyweight title is on the line, and the hometown kid, Tommy Aspinall, defends said interim title against Curtis Razor Blaydes, coined Razor, known for his nasty, nasty elbows. But let's talk Mr. Hometown Hero for a second. Tom Aspinall is taking the MMA world by storm, and not just taking it by storm, but taking over. Like Conor McGregor said, he's not just taking part, he's taking over. And in heavyweight MMA, Tom Aspinall is the next big thing. He makes all of his opponents look easy. He doesn't have to work that hard to win. Alexander Volkov, freaking stud. Volkov just beat Sergey Pavlovich in a dominant 3-round fight. Tommy Aspinall went in there, submitted that man with ease in the first round. That win has aged like wine for Tommy. Now, who else did he make look easy? Sergey Pavlovich. When Pavlovich was the boogeyman of the division, the scary heavyweight, knocking out everybody. Curtis Blaydes, Tai Tuivasa, both within, 120 to 200 total seconds of octagon time. When he was the scariest man in that division, guess who stepped up to the plate and won the interim title at UFC 295 against Sergey Pavlovich and knocked him out, sparked him in just over a minute? Tommy Aspinall. This dude, he makes everybody look easy because he is really that good. His only loss in the UFC is actually against Curtis Blaydes, if you all remember, but to say that loss is legitimate, you just can't. First 15 seconds of the fight, Tom Aspinall steps back awkwardly, falls over, and tore his knee up just like that, and the fight was over. Freak injuries happen. Does that mean Curtis Blaydes was the better man on that night? Absolutely not. Tom Aspinall hurt himself severely to a point where he could not continue fighting. It is now his time to avenge his only loss in the UFC to Curtis Blaydes and do so viciously and violently. I mean, this dude is the definition of violence. In heavyweight MMA, the most violent and the apex level of the most violent sport on planet Earth, he somehow reigns supreme. He maintains that nice guy facade, that smiley figure, but he reigns supreme as arguably the most violent man in the division and the sport. All of his wins have come by finish. He has 10 knockouts / technical knockouts and 4 submissions. Guys, this dude is a stud. He's really, 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 really good everywhere. And I know MMA math doesn't work, but let's just think for a second. Tom Aspinall submitted Volkov. Volkov was able to take down Curtis Blaydes in their fight. Tom Aspinall knocked out Sergey Pavlovich. Sergey Pavlovich knocked out Curtis Blaydes when they fought. So Tom Aspinall outdid 2 men who bested Curtis Blaydes in 2 separate aspects of martial arts. Tom Aspinall is the better all-around fighter here in my eyes. But let's just talk about Curtis for a second. I mean, this is his championship opportunity that he has been campaigning for and waiting for a ridiculous amount of time. The dude has spent what seems to be eons in the top 5 of the division, getting so close, yet coming up short every single time. Got knocked out twice by Francis Ngannou. One was a notoriously controversial and early stoppage. One wasn't. He got knocked out twice by Francis Ngannou. Got slept by Derek Lewis in the famous clip that we all know and love. That was Herb Dean's fault. That was Herb Dean's fault. And it was. He didn't pull Derek Lewis off of Curtis Blaydes after Lewis landed that nasty uppercut and knocked Blaydes out. And obviously he got knocked out by Sergey as well. But I feel bad. It's a little judgmental and misleading to just talk about Curtis Blaydes' losses, because in recent memory, he's actually looked amazing. Let's focus on his last fight. Jailton Almeida, supposedly the best wrestler at heavyweight, right? Took down Curtis, I don't know, it must have been 6 or 7 times in the first round of that fight. I had the privilege to witness that fight live at UFC 299 in Miami, and although Curtis Blaydes got dominated, manhandled in the first round of that heavyweight bout, second round, he comes out, defends a takedown, hammers away, and puts Jailton Almeida out, winning that fight, earning himself a title shot with just a beautiful, beautiful performance. This guy has, for a long time now, existed at the top of heavyweight MMA. He has proven time and time again that he can hang in there with the best of the best, but he has also proven that he loses to the best of the best. Sergey, Francis Ngannou, Derek Lewis. These are guys that Tom Aspinall is better than. Francis Ngannou was a beast in the prime of his martial arts career. That's a can of worms that must be opened another time. But Tom Aspinall is arguably, maybe outside of John Jones, arguably the most well-rounded heavyweight this sport has ever seen, and he can truly do it all. I don't see where Curtis Razor Blaydes would be able to beat Tom Aspinall, truly just thinking about it. If Curtis tries to stand and trade with Tom, he's going to get knocked out, just like he did against Sergey Pavlovich. He attempted to stand and trade and brawl with the scary Russian heavyweight. He got slept. He attempted to stand and trade with Francis Ngannou. He got slept. He attempted to stand and trade with Derek Lewis. He got slept. Is Curtis Blaydes a good wrestler? Yes. But I genuinely believe that Tom Aspinall is better on the ground than the man with the most takedowns in UFC history, Curtis Razor Blaydes. Tommy Aspinall is better at everything. He is better everywhere. And I just think he does this man, Curtis Blaydes, in. He digs the coffin, nails it, and puts Curtis in his grave. Blaydes is going to be put in his grave, and Tom Aspinall, in my eyes, like I said, the future of the sport at heavyweight. The dude is really freaking good, and he will win via however he wants, whether it's a submission, ground and pound TKO, or knockout on the feet. This fight, 100%, I can guarantee it's not going all 25 minutes. I can almost as strongly guarantee, because there are no guarantees in this sport, especially at heavyweight MMA, but I can almost as strongly guarantee that Tom Aspinall will be the one to finish Curtis Blaydes. Like I said, it could be a knockout. It could be a submission. It could be ground and pound. This heavyweight interim title defense will prove to be Tom Aspinall's coming out party once again. But, I mean, he's had coming out parties time and time again. Volkov, Pavlovich. But it will really prove that this was never a fight. It's a lamb for slaughter. Tom Aspinall is better than Curtis Blaydes at everything. And there is no way that Razor Blaydes finds a way to get Bruce Buffer to say, and new. Now, what do you do with Tom Aspinall after this? I don't know. Is John Jones really going to take the risk to fight the young and hungry Lion at heavyweight? I don't know. He wants to fight Stipe first. And that is probably what's going to happen because those are the two biggest names and stars at heavyweight. So how do you unify that belt? I'm not really sure. But as John Anik said, this title defense, it's legitimate. It's not an interim title defense. You cannot fault Tom Aspinall for the sitting out of John Jones. He is defending the title he holds, and right now it is the more legit title in heavyweight MMA because we have no clue when we will see John Jones back in the octagon. That being said, give me Tom Aspinall by domination in the co-main event. Give me Leon Edwards by evisceration in the main event. And give me a UK sweep at UFC 304. Chokehold out.